Hello, everybody. So this video is for Spencer Belson. He's going fishing at Walden Pond, ice fishing at Walden Pond this coming Saturday. So I thought I would do a special video. Usually, a fisherman doesn't give up their secrets, um, especially for fishing spots. But since I'm probably never going to fish at Walden Pond again, unfortunately, I mean, I would love to eventually. But might as well just give people some pointers. That way, more people can go out there and fish. And anyways, so what I did was I just kind of created a little map here. That map is basically just from an aerial view of Bing Maps. And I just put this little key here. You've got rainbow trout or brown trout. There's a lot of holdovers at Walden Pond because it's pretty big. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it when you look at the map or when you look at it from one end to the other, but it does take a while to get from one point to another. Whether if it's icy or not. One of the advantages of ice fishing, as long as you're being careful, you don't want to fall through any thin ice, is that it's easier to get to a certain point and you can fish at the deeper areas. And what I mean by the deeper areas is here's a contour map of Walden Pond taken back in 1983. It's still the same. Instead of feet, those are in meters. So you can see like on the very center left, the deepest part where that asterisk is. That's 30 meters. So that's usually where it gets to the deepest point, which is anywhere up to 102 to 106 feet deep. You don't need to fish that deep. The fish aren't going to be down there. One of the benefits, though, is at that deep of an area, we actually went to that deep spot, me and a couple of fishing buddies of mine, and I have this Deeper Pro, so I could see all the fish down there. I'm not sure if I still have any of the recordings, unfortunately. I'll have to double check. It would have been nice to see it, but if you just put some type of sonar down there, fish finder, you're gonna just see a lot of activity passing through. Usually in the deeper spots, I don't know what it is. I think it's rainbow smelt. that's just kind of sleeping or just waiting until it's darker to go up near the shore, because rainbow smelt don't really like light, so they want to stay in the deeper areas. And when we went there, trying to catch trout through the ice, and something just kept on like picking at our bait, and some of us were using worms and things like that. And it's like, what's going on? You know, we keep getting these nibbles, but nothing's biting. One of us actually caught a rainbow smelt, and on a big hook. It wasn't like one of those sabiki rigs. It was kind of a sizable hook, and I think the bait was pretty big too. But somehow he caught it. He got caught in his hook. And so what people don't know is that there's rainbow smelt at Walden Pond. Hopefully, well, the thing is, not many people watch my videos. You know, I think my biggest video as far as fishing is about like 20,000 views. And you know, Walden Pond, not many people are going to be able to fish there. But I think once word gets out that there's rainbow smelt over at Walden Pond, a lot more people are going to go and try to catch rainbow smelt with sabiki rigs, and it's worth doing. I've only gotten, you know, I only had a few chances to go ice fishing at Walden Pond, mostly because I had family and work, and a lot of times the ice isn't thick enough for you to go on there. So you know, I think I might have went ice fishing at Walden Pond a total of 4 or 5 times, but those 4 or 5 times was just all day and at different various spots. So basically, a lot of the areas that you can catch the different types of fish are a lot different than during the summertime. So if you see where at the very south side, there's the 2Ps, those are yellow perch. That's usually a great time to catch trout, rainbow trout, during the summer mornings. So when the sun rises around 5, it opens at 5, and you can get there right about that time. You're gonna get your limit of trout over there. There's some type of spring that's under that area. You're gonna probably find someone if he's still alive fishing there. There's a lot of older people that really know the spots at Walden Pond. If you can get to know them, talk with them, they'll probably tell you a couple of good things. As far as when I was fishing there, there's just not a lot of people, younger people or even middle-aged people that really know how to fish, and so they don't really catch a lot of fish. They don't catch a lot of trout. Usually a lot of the older folks do, but hopefully a lot of the younger crowd can go and fish there, because it's great fishing. There's a lot of holdover trout. Trouts are stocked every twice a year, but a lot of them live quite long, and I always wondered how they live so well. But once we found out that there's rainbow smelt there, they're probably feeding on the smelt there, and that's how they get so huge. People catch 20 pounds to 24-pound brown trout, no problem, either on the shore or on a boat. And usually bigger ones, actually, they're all in the spots that I mentioned. If you want to fish through spring, summer, and fall. During the winter, though, it's a little bit different. Like where in the winter, when it's iced over, the perch on that south side, instead of trout being there, you're going to find perch. They're usually on the bigger side than on the northern part of the pond. So on the northern part of the pond, the yellow perch, it's just a lot more numerous, and you're gonna. I always hated catching perch, especially when I'm targeting trout, especially when I'm on my kayak or stand-up paddleboard or something like that. But those perch are just very aggressive, and you're just gonna find a lot of perch over in that north spot. Sizes may vary, but if you're just going for you don't want to wait for any big ones. I mean, I think whenever I fish for perch on that south side, I'm usually only catching about 5 or 6. They're decent size, but I'm not catching a lot of them. But on that north side, I'm probably catching 20, 30 yellow perch. They just seem to congregate there, but they're not very big. A lot of them are little, or just big enough to want to take home and eat. So you gotta use your judgment there. If you don't want to go to that deep end where there's smelt and bigger trout, you can go near the entrance. It's just kind of past the edge of where the swimming line is during the summer. But if you kind of know that area, it's just right there. Just drill a couple holes and allow the trout just kind of run up there, and so you can just kind of see on that contour. The yellow perch really don't go that deep. They're usually at that anywhere from the 20 to 30 feet deep area. The thing about Walden Pond, it is very clear water, and most of the fish, especially fish with great eyesight like trout, they're going to be able to see down at 30 feet. Yellow perch, they don't really want to go deeper because they can't see. They're pretty aggressive feeders, so they'll usually stay up near the shallow areas. Anywhere from 30 to 25 feet is a good range for them as far as Walden Pond. I've never caught any perch deeper than that, so they're going to be kind of in the shallower area, and again, they're just usually on that north and south side indicated on this aerial map. Now, the trout that's near the entrance where the beach area is on the east side. They're going to be kind of going back and forth between the deeper part, which is going to be about 40 to 50 feet, going towards depths as as shallow as probably like 5 feet. We actually one of my ice fishing buddies, he just caught a lot of the smaller trout. They're good sized trout. They're not like super small, but they're less than a pound, about 15.5 inches usually. You catch your limit really quick by just fishing there. They'll even go pretty close to shore where just 5 feet of water that's under the ice, and you're like, wow. Great if you want to go ahead and capture underwater footage, because under the ice you'll be able to see a lot more of the fish and the just underwater life that passes through. So that's just something. If you just want a quick way to drill holes and catch trout, that's a good place to go. You're going to see a lot of people near, in between all of these areas where there's perch and the trout, and they're not that good. There, see that right in the center, there's that 20 meters, so about 60 feet, and then that 16 meters on the right, kind of near the entrance. So between there, you'll just see a lot of ice fishermen just kind of spread out and fish between those spots. It's kind of a hit or miss. If you're waiting all day, that might be good, because what usually happens is, for some reason, trout just kind of are looking for food, and they'll travel in groups. And when they're traveling, they'll just pass through that area, and you're just gonna get hits. It's just like if you set up, I forgot what they're called. Multiple holes, basically, and you're gonna get 3, 4, 5 fish just hitting all at once, and so you're gonna just be running back and forth when that happens, just because they're just going in a group and they're just passing by. I would probably set the your bait, or if you're jigging, probably 20 to 30 feet in that depth area. You don't want to go too shallow, you don't want to go too deep, but that's probably the perfect range on whenever you're fishing for trout over in Walden Pond. So if you want, you can go between all these areas and just wait for the school of trout to just kind of swim by. It's exciting because you're just gonna be bored most of the time until they actually start grabbing your bait. But if you want cost, and they're kind of on the bigger side, they're not bad. They're about 16 to 18 inches, and they're much better than if you're ice fishing near the shore. Now let's talk about the deep end. Now the deep end, of course, goes down as far as 102 feet. You don't want to fish probably past below 50 feet. Maybe if you're having trouble catching the smelt and you see in the fish finder that they're in that 50, 60 feet range, you can go ahead and try jigging for the smelt that deep, but you're not going to catch trout that deep. So if you really want to catch trout, it's usually anywhere from that 20 to 30 foot range. That's worked quite a lot. Every time I tried shallower, I never caught any trout. They're probably just a little bit more hesitant, just seeing things like 5 to 10 feet from the top of the ice. And again, the visibility, it gets pretty dark at Walden Pond, probably once you start hitting 25, 30 feet deep. And, things get super cold past 6 feet. But as far as like visibility, if you can get down to 30 feet, you're not gonna really, it's gonna be really dark. But fish are gonna probably see a lot better. So once you get over to that spot, ice fishing buddy of mine caught some big trout there. That's ranging from 18 to 20 inches, and I probably missed my biggest trout. It was a brown trout. We drilled these ice holes that were 8 inches in diameter, and the brown trout was so thick it would barely fit through. And again, while I was trying to get it through, I should use my hands, but I don't know what I was thinking. I was just, when you're in that moment, you got a big one, you're just not thinking, and it just kind of hit its head over the side of the edge of the hole and knocked the jig out of its mouth. And that would have been, I'm pretty sure, would have been like 23, 24 inches, that big of a brown trout. So if you really want to go and catch the bigger trout, you want to go to that deeper area. That's where they're feeding on the smelt. That's there. They're probably gonna have a harder time catching the smelt in the darker areas. That's why the smelt are gonna be deeper. So if you're now, one of the probably best things you can do. Well, a lot of people love smelt themselves to eat. Most people go up to Maine to get like a ice fishing hut and just try to catch a whole bunch of smelt. But if you don't really like smelt, well, you can catch smelt and use it as bait, and they will catch you a lot of trout over there. Better than worms, better than anything else. If you put like a minnow over there, but more importantly, like a rainbow smelt, man, you're just gonna get hits pretty good. And that's pretty much it. There's really not much to ice fishing. I mean, I've pretty much drilled holes everywhere, just trying to find good spots. And a lot of the times, I never caught anything. And then once I did find a spot that I caught stuff, it's just finding where the fish were roaming. And so I would look on my fish finder. They're usually roaming around that 20, 30 feet depth. And as far as the bigger fish, and I figured that would be the trout. And then a lot of these smaller blips that are just littered everywhere, usually around that 50 feet, 40 to 50 feet, maybe even 60 feet deep. And it's like, I thought there'd be like vegetation there, but I don't think there's vegetation that could grow there. It's too dark. So all of that is just fish. They're either just sleeping or just waiting for nighttime or something. And that we actually caught smelt was just, that was pretty awesome, because we were just annoyed that we just kept our bait just kept getting stolen. Like one of the things I did was I would gut the fish, and I would look at the contents of what they were eating while I was ice fishing. And pretty much the trout and the perch over on the east side of the pond, they're eating crawfish. And the trout over on that west side, that really deep end, they're eating smelt. I think I have a picture, and let me see if I can find the contents. Sorry, I should be a little bit more. I should be a little bit better as far as being organized, but I didn't expect to show the smelt. The thing is, I had a picture of the rainbow smelt while it was alive, the one that my friend caught. I couldn't find that picture. I spent maybe an hour or two looking for it, and I couldn't find it, so that sucked. All right, let's see. All right, right. Oh, I gotta make it smaller. Here, let's move this down here. Transform, fit to screen. Yeah, there you go. So that was the contents of one of the trout that I caught, and it's just. And I also found similar ones kind of floating. I don't know whether they just died or they got spit out while I was reeling it in. So you can see that there's just a lot of shininess to it, and yeah, I thought that was great. It's like lot of the things that I look for when I'm fishing is just, you know, what are they biting, what are they eating, if they're I mean, if you can figure that out, you catch one and you can gut it there and then, and or you go home, you come back another day, you know what they're eating. You can use crawfish as bait if you can find any. If you find any, they're going to be on the rocks near the south side. It's kind of the southwest of where the perch are. There's this really shallow area that's just full of rocks. If you want to go and catch crawfish, crawdads, whatever you want to call them, they're going to be littered all along that south side where that perch area is, near the shallower areas, and to the left. You know, you'll just see that there's just the contours is just you know, really, the gradient's really steep. Anyways, that's it. There's really not much to say. Just take a screenshot of this, and just focus on what you want to catch. They'll really take anything. Like the easiest for me is just to get worms, big night crawlers. The Canadian night crawlers, and they'll just go for those in a heartbeat. If you go to the shallower areas for the trout, those are mostly trout that probably survived the fall and just kind of stick around that area on the east side. You can use power bait dough and they'll take it, and just leave it on the bottom with maybe like 2 foot, 3 foot leader, maybe, you know, 1 to 3 feet leader, pretty much. There's really not much growth during the winter. For the yellow perch, worms work perfect. The night crawlers, and they're fun to catch. I've caught one. They're usually like the smaller side. They're going to be anywhere from 9 to 10 inches. On the bigger side, they're going to be anywhere from like 11 to 14 inches. And the 14-inch yellow perch is just great. Big. They fight hard, and it's good eating. If you one of the things in Nebraska, now that I live over here, you know, I found 2 places where there's yellow perch, and I'm not telling people where they are, just because it's just hard to find yellow perch over here in Nebraska. But in, you know, Walden Pond, there's so many fish. Like they'll stock other types of trout, cutthroat trout sometimes, just limited though. Another type of trout. Why can't I remember it? But they don't really last very long. The ones that just really last are the rainbow and the brown trouts. If there's a lot of largemouth and smallmouth bass, and also a lot of bluegill. I've never caught any crappie at Walden Pond. I've never caught any catfish either, but I'm pretty sure there's catfish that are there. Just never caught any. They're probably more in the sandier, maybe even deeper areas, just because they probably wouldn't want to be where it's always bright, which is usually when I go fishing for trout. That's it. I mean, it's beautiful during the winter. You've got to be careful when you're ice fishing at Walden Pond, just because there are parts that will be thin and other parts where it'll be thick. So what I usually do is just, you know, start early drilling holes and just keep moving forward. See if there's anybody else on the ice. Check how just say hi, how they're doing, and, you know, see how thick the ice is, and, you know, just be careful. If there's any parts of the water or the ice that has like water, you know, you just want to stay away from there. And that's pretty much it. Anyways, I hope this helps. Secrets of Walden Pond for fishing. No one, you know, I guess eventually if it gets too bad and and like everybody's trying to catch the smelt, you know, they'll probably blame me for it. But yeah, it's not well known that there's smelt over at Walden Pond, and some pretty good sized yellow perch, and like, where to fish for the perch, and the trout. You know, basically all these areas that I pointed out, you know, all good areas for trout and perch. But during the winter, this is just more of what is likely to be. And if you go snorkeling, if you get a chance, anywhere from spring, summer, and fall, and he can handle the cold, you're gonna just see a lot of little schools of fish. They're just really small. I could never figure out what they were, but maybe that's the smelt. And if you go further to like the deeper depths, snorkeling, and there's just a lot of rock piles in Walden Pond, you're gonna see largemouth bass just kind of hovering around those little rock piles, and just a lot of tiny fish just kind of like hiding and just living in those little rock piles. I don't know whether the largemouth bass are just waiting for them to come out and chase them and eat them, or whether that's just kind of where the largemouth bass leave their younger fish. I always wanted to scuba dive and just kind of film for a longer time, because it's harder to do that when you're just snorkeling. But you know, it's an adventure. Walden Pond has really clean water, has really clear water. You know, nice beach access. It's pretty much my favorite pond that I've ever fished in. You know, if I ever visited, I have to go back and fish at Walden Pond. It's just, I like it that much. So enjoy. Hope you enjoyed this video, and good luck out there, and be safe.